Hi, my name's Sam. I'm the CEO and founder of Humankind. We work with organisations across New Zealand to help build better workplaces. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 things to think about when it comes to moving your team to remote working. So the first thing I'm going to start talking about is communication. And we all know that working from home can be really isolating. So the things that have been working really well for us at Humankind is to make sure that you have those really regular meetings in the diaries and set up. What works for us is a daily WIP meeting, which we do at about 9:15 because that's when our working mums and things have got their kids off to school. We have a really regular agenda for that WIP, which at the moment is starting by talking about any COVID-19 updates so that our team know what our organisation's response is in any day. We also ensure that our leaders are checking in with their team members on every couple of days basis, and we try and do all of that by video. Another meeting that we've just set up actually in the last few days has been an everyday leadership check-in, just to make sure if there's any updates to how we're working or what we're doing with our services, that the leadership team are all on the same page. And it might feel like a lot of meetings to have in the diary, but the reality is without that incidental running into each other in the office or in the kitchen, we need to be far more deliberate with checking in and communicating and having those meetings than we were if we were based in our offices. So the first tip around communication really is about over-communicating. No one's going to be annoyed about you checking in too many times with them or hearing the message more than once. It's a much better situation than having people wondering what's happening in your business. The second thing I want to talk about is working hours. And a lot of organisations and businesses might be worried about productivity or losing productivity if people move to working from home. The actual reality is that people are likely to work more hours working from home than they are if they're in the office. People don't have to worry about travelling, and they're not often as disciplined with taking breaks. So really, if we're trying to look after our team and their wellness, particularly during this really stressful time, is talk to your team about working hours and make sure they set themselves up a really regular routine. We've actually sent our team out a schedule which they can kind of make work for themselves, which includes getting them to think about things like their wellness, their nutrition, their breaks, their rest times, how much they're on screens, micro breaks, get them to think about all those things that they would naturally have in an office environment. I know from my own experience, and we've just started working from home in our business, that sitting in front of a video screen all day and on your laptop without even those breaks of walking around the office can be so exhausting. So making sure our teams and we're encouraging them to take those breaks is really important. Also, it's a really great opportunity for your team to work when they're most productive. So that might mean that they might maybe start earlier in the morning or finish later at night. But really just keeping an eye on your people and making sure they're not working far more hours than what they need to be at this point. The third area is around technology, and I know some businesses will be really set up in this space and others won't. So I'm going to give you a couple of tools that we use at Humankind and we see a lot of our clients using to make working from home far easier. The first one is Slack, which is an online messaging tool. Slack is amazing because it keeps a lot of the communication out of your email inbox, which we all find quite overwhelming, and also you can use it to set up channels on a variety of different topics. So how it works is you can basically set up channels to kind of organise the messaging or the communications. And at the moment, some ones that are proving really valuable when we've moved to working from home is we've got a COVID-19 updates channel, which is any updates specifically related to the COVID-19 advice and guidelines that we're getting from the Ministry of Health and the government. So our team know where to go to look for the latest. We've got a channel related to celebrations, so that's celebrating the small things that are happening, continuing to happen that we wouldn't get around a desk or a table in the kitchen to do in the office. We've also got a random Slack channel, which is really funny, where some of the memes and funny videos that are being shared to keep things a little bit lighter is being posted. Even things like, what your dog's doing when you're working from home sounds silly, but that's all the incidental conversation that's happening in the office. We've got channels for particular teams, and then of course there's the direct messaging that you can do on Slack as well. And checking in with your people and making sure that your leaders are using that to check in with their people and have all those conversations that you would if you were sitting next to someone in office. Slack's an awesome tool, and I think free unless you sort of upgrade to one of the premium packages, so worth looking at. And the other tool is Zoom for video conferencing. When you're working from home, I would say that just relying on email or phone is not enough. There's nothing quite like face-to-face interaction, and the next best thing is probably by using video conferencing technology. So we've been using Zoom for one-to-one meetings, we've been using Zoom for team meetings, and then yesterday we did our first monthly business update, which is where everyone in our organisation, and we're sitting at just under 30 people, logs in and connects and hears the monthly business update from the variety of people that are presenting in that month. It's a 2-hour meeting, we did it all via Zoom, and it worked phenomenally well. You can have it set up so that everyone is seeing everyone else's faces. It's called gallery view. So it kind of looks like you're sitting in the same room as people. And it definitely gives that feel of like a real team meeting, and highly recommend you check it out. The other thing is when you're thinking about adding technology in that people haven't used before is you may need to look for useful how-tos, or maybe even going onto YouTube and finding like videos of how to optimize those experiences. There's so many guides available now on how to optimize Slack or how to optimize Zoom, or even how to have a really great Zoom experience. So things like, sitting with a window right behind you so everyone can only see a black face because the light's behind you, moving away from those types of things. But all those tips exist free. All you just need to do is Google it. So if you're setting up new technology, check out what's available for free in terms of tips and tricks. The fourth thing I'm going to talk about is Workspace. So just like you would in the office, we take a lot of time and energy to create a space that's going to lead to happy and engaged and productive people, and also delivering really awesome employee experiences. We need to think that not everyone has a great space in their homes, so how can we help with that? Talk to them about what they do have in terms of setups. And I know in our team, we've got people that have large family homes that have a spare office, very lucky for them. But we've also got people that are living in flats with up to 5 other people and they don't have a spare room to use. So help them to think through where is the space that they could create to be their new working zone, what equipment might they need. One of the things that we're doing in our business, and it's actually happening today, is that we've put bundles of stuff that's been used in the office aside, for example, chairs, laptop stands, mice, keyboards to go with all their laptops, and people are able to come in and collect that from the office and take it home because we don't know how long we might be working remotely. So really enable your people to set up and be comfortable. Often a kitchen chair or a dining table chair is not going to be good enough to be working from home for long periods of time, particularly if you are going to be on your computer all day. So there's the technology and the furniture, but also just making sure people are able to kind of separate work from home as best as they possibly can. And that's maybe just about sharing with them tips on how to shut down at the end of the day and put that space away if it is in the middle of their family living area. Another thing that we experienced yesterday with regards to space actually is ensuring that if they are living in a household with other people and you're having meetings potentially about confidential stuff, is the use of headphones. So make sure that your people have the tools, headphones, microphones, whatever they need to make sure that they're keeping the information that you're talking about in your business confidential to you. And the last thing I'll talk about is really just this aspect of being human. This is a really challenging time for all of your employees and you as a leader. And working from home is not easy for everybody. I myself, I'm a true extrovert. I love being around people. I love the interactions I have in my office, and often I'm out in the network, meeting new people. And that's not going to happen as much being at home. So how do we mimic those interactions as much as possible by ad hoc calls or messages, or discussions that we can do on video or phone to look after those people. People will be feeling different levels of anxiety or love or hate with this situation, so make sure that you're enabling your people to be able to talk about that. Maybe start your daily meeting with kind of how was yesterday, how's everyone feeling? And although that might not come naturally to some of us as business owners, now is the time we need to try new things and have those conversations even if we haven't done it before. This is a real time for us as leaders to lead with humanity and lead with feelings. And I guarantee you, it might sound like the fluffy stuff, but this is the stuff that makes a real difference to the commercial success of your organisation through tough times. The last thing I'll probably end with is, as a leader, you don't need to have all the answers. So reach out to other people in your network. Feel free to reach out to me. Look on Google for tips and tricks around remote working. There's heaps of stuff available. So maybe just to sum up, the 5 things to think about if you're moving your team to remote working. Think about communication, really make it a priority, over-communicate rather than under-communicate, set those meetings up and those rituals. Think about working hours and making sure your people are looking after themselves and that you're getting the structure, or they're getting the structure that they need to be the most productive they can be. Think about the technology that you as an organisation can set up, it's not too late, and get that stuff working so that you really enable effective and productive working from home. Think about the workspace that they have in their home and what you as the organisation can do to help set that up, whether it's equipment you take from the office if no one's going to be using it. You don't need to be buying new stuff in times like this. And lastly is be human. Good luck.